Welcome to the 12th Horseshoe podcast, sponsored by Prova, an Italian eatery in Moonachie, New Jersey. That's Jack Rizzo. I'm Elijah Whitetrip. Tonight, we have your divisional round recap and your conference championship picks, and it's been a wild week. Some coaching changes and a crazy week of football, and the final week before the Super Bowl, we get some football games. But before that, how are we doing tonight, Jack?
I am doing fantastic, Eli. It was a great day, and it's going to be a great championship weekend. Looking forward to it.
All right, let's go ahead and start breaking down these games. We're going to start off with the Saturday slate of games. The refs and the Chiefs win the game over the Texans. You heard that right, the refs and the Chiefs, because as we all know, they're the reasons why they won. Well, you can't forget one other person, though. Taylor Swift was there. Whenever Taylor's there and the refs are working, you got a victory for the Kansas City Chiefs. They took care of victory 23-14, the final. Texans, they had a shot, but the refs happened. Kansas City happened. And like I've always said, if you have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, Andy Reid as your head coach, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift up in the box, you're going to win every game. And if the refs are on your side, then you're going to win every game. And it looks like the Chiefs are possibly on their way to three-peat.
They very well could be, Eli. I mean, I know the refs really helped the Chiefs, but I mean, at the same time, Eli, they are still a very good team. They have their defense is maybe the best in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes is doing his thing. Had that crazy touchdown falling down, was able to throw the touchdown, and it was a great win for Kansas City. Houston, by the way, they just announced today that they fired their offensive coordinator. Bobby Slowick is out.
I don't like that, though.
I do. I think the Texans had such a significant regression this year that changes need to be made. CJ Stroud was just never really got any help this year. The offensive line coach was also fired, which obviously makes sense. Their O-line was atrocious this year.
That is
so
true.
We're going to have some major changes in Houston, but it just shows because last year Bobby Slowick was like he got a lot of interviews for head coaching jobs, and now this year he got fired. It just shows how tough of a business the NFL is. But we'll see what happens, Eli. But I think the Texans still have a bright future. I still think they're going to be a solid team to look out for, but obviously a bit of a disappointing end to the season for them. But Kansas City now, this will be their 7th straight AFC Championship game appearance.
And they'll be taking on the other opponent, which we'll get to in a little bit. Before that, though, the number 1 seed, the Detroit Lions. Well, they said roar goodbye as they lose to the Commanders 45-31. And what did Elijah say in the beginning of the first season? What did he say? He said, watch out for this Commanders team, make the playoffs, and go far. And yet here we are. They're on their way to the conference championship in Philadelphia. Jaden Daniels proven to be an excellent pickup in the draft. And the new ownership is proving to have gone right. And the Commanders are on their way to potentially going to the Super Bowl. Can you believe that? From the dump to the Super Bowl is a possibility for this Commanders team. What are we thinking about this one, Jack?
That's honestly, that might be the greatest prediction that's been made in the history of the NFL. What you said about the Commanders, I don't think anybody had the Commanders being this good except for you. And to be fair, Eli, you actually gave the Commanders less wins than they had. You had them at 11 wins. Yeah. They actually won 12 games. So they actually were better than
playoffs, though.
You did indeed. And you had them losing in the divisional round, which
I did.
Was a good pick, but they actually won the division.
They won it. I was shocked about that.
Yeah. Well, but what did I say about the Lions, though? I didn't even have the Lions winning the division. I had the Packers winning the division.
No, and you had them for the lock of the week.
Oh, yeah. But, oh, well, that is what it is. But, hey, I said before the season that the Lions were going to lose in the divisional round in the playoffs. And what do? They lost in the divisional round. They're not going to be in the NFC Championship game because they're overrated. And now they lose both of their offensive coordinators. We'll get to all that coaching hires once we're finished with our recap here. Recap. But, yeah, it's going to be – honestly, Eli, this might be the craziest take we've ever had on the show, Eli. I think I might predict next year that the Detroit Lions are going to miss the playoffs entirely.
Ooh.
Not just not winning the division, and they won't even make it to a wild card. They might just miss the playoffs entirely next year.
But before I asked, I didn't really pay attention to the contract and stuff. What is Jared Goff's contract looking at? Does he still have a couple more years left, or do they have to re-sign?
He has like 3 or 4 years left, and he's getting paid like $200 million.
I was gonna say, because usually there's when you become the highest paid, there's an injury, and then there's the curse happens. But I don't know.
What a horrible contract that was.
Well, we saw that now.
Overrated. Matthew Stafford is always the king of Detroit. And the Rams won that trade. It was not a win-win. The Rams
They
100% won
both
that
lost
trade.
in the divisional round.
But Eli, who won the Super Bowl though? Matthew Stafford or Jared Goff?
Matthew Stafford.
That's right. So the Rams won the trade, clearly.
Okay,
So,
fair enough.
all right.
Two environments. By the way, I went 2-2 on picks. Jack went 1-3. He goes 0-1 on lock, and I went 1-0 on lock.
A lot of surprise in the divisional round this year.
Yeah, it really was. It's not a surprise, but a hard to watch, but pretty cool to see game in the snow. The Eagles defeat the Rams 28-22. It's no Quan Barkley, as Nate Burleson said. Did his magic. And could the Eagles go on to the Super Bowl? That is the question. But the big factor is Jalen Hurts is questionable. Big if right now on the table. How will this impact Philadelphia heading in? We will find out. But overall, though, a big victory. Saquon Barkley, he clearly is the man following that big victory over the Rams.
Well, speaking of Saquon Barkley, the Eagles played the Rams twice this year. In those two games, Saquon Barkley had not one, not two, not three, but 4 rushing touchdowns of at least 60 yards. That is mind-blowing. I cannot believe I actually just read that out loud, that he actually did that. Like, that is crazy to me that he was able to do that. But yeah, Eli, Saquon carried. The Eagles' offense was horrible in this game outside of Saquon Barkley. Like, Jalen Hurts did not play well. The receivers were pretty quiet. Eagles' defense, though, was amazing. The Eagles' defense was outstanding in this game. But the Rams made it interesting, though, at the end. Like, they were in the red zone with a chance to win the game, but they ultimately got stopped short, Eli, and the Eagles are going back to the NFC Championship game, Eli. But the Eagles are so scary because Saquon Barkley is having an amazing season. Now you're going up against Commanders' defense, which has struggled, Eli. Like, I know the Commanders' defense had several takeaways last week, but they also gave up 31 points at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And this is in Philadelphia, Eli. The Commanders need to stop Saquon Barkley. If they don't stop Saquon Barkley, they cannot win next week. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But
the question is Saquon Barkley, not Saquon Barkley, is Jalen Hurts going to be healthy? That's the ultimate question.
That is the ultimate question.
If Saquon Barkley has the night he has, it really all depends. All right, the last game on the list here. Mark Andrews drops a 2-point conversion that ultimately ends the game for the Ravens. Could have tied it up. The Bills get the victory here, 27-25. Still don't trust this Bills team. I still think they're going to lose. As I said in the beginning, I did not pick the pick for tonight yet, but I just want to say, like I predicted a few shows ago, I said I don't trust this Bills team. I still don't trust them. I really don't. I mean, they played great. They had some good opportunities. They could have almost lost the game. Would have went to overtime. Would have been rough. I don't know. But yeah.
Well, Eli, I will say, Eli, looking at the score doesn't tell the full story, Eli. I don't know if you felt the same way, but I was disappointed by this game. I thought it was going to be a better game than it was. I honestly thought the game was pretty boring for like 95% of it.
I mean, the whole weekend was pretty boring. The only good game, I think, was the Commanders Lions, and that was because of the amount of points scored.
Eagles Rams, though, got interesting at the end. I will say that.
That is true. It did get interesting.
And the snow was really cool, too.
The snow made a factor, correct.
But this game just, I don't know, it just didn't excite me. Like, it was boring.
There was a lot of hype for it, and nothing happened.
Exactly. It just felt like a normal game. And, like, Eli, how crazy is that out of all the Ravens players you could think of to screw this up, it ends up being maybe their most consistent player, Mark Andrews, is the one who ends up screwing this up, Eli. And it's going to be a long offseason for Baltimore. They've got a lot of decisions to make. And, now the story is, can the Ravens get over the hump? Like, Lamar Jackson might win a third MVP this year, yet the Ravens only have, one AFC Championship game appearance to show for that? Like, the Ravens are starting to become this team that just can't win the big game in the playoffs. And, Eli, the Ravens used to be a team that would dominate the playoffs. Like, they've only been around for about 25 years, but they've already won 2 Super Bowls. Joe Flacco obviously had a great career in Baltimore in the playoffs, and it's crazy, just how they're different now. This Ravens team reminds me of the Eagles in the 2000s with Andy Reid. Like, they could just never get over the hump in the playoffs, and we'll just have to see what happens, Eli. But congrats to the Bills, though, and the Bills. It's crazy to think, Eli, that this is the first time in 4 years that the Bills are going to be in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about. And with that, we head over to some NFL coaching news, and for our conference championship picks, we turn over to Jack.
Well, Eli, I will go in order. I believe we just discussed Mike Vrabel, right? I feel like I've asked you that so many times.
I think we did.
I think we did.
Mike Vrabel, though.
Either way, if we didn't, obviously Mike Vrabel, the new coach of the Patriots, I think it's a fantastic move. Former player, or linebacker. Tennessee should have never fired him. I can't believe they actually did.
Dumb choice.
Exactly. All right, well, now we've got the new ones. We had not one, not two, not three, but 4 new head coaches hired this past week. That's
And some
honestly
couple
crazy.
firings too.
We did. Couple firings. Yep, we'll get to that in a little bit. The first one that happened, this is probably the best hiring of the entire offseason. Ben Johnson, the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator, goes to Chicago. He's going to be the new Bears head coach. This is a fantastic move, Eli. He's going to bring a new culture to Chicago. He's going to help develop Caleb Williams. He's got so much talent to work with there. He's a culture builder. There's a reason why he's got so many head coaching interviews the last 3 seasons. He got the opportunity.
Absolutely.
He wanted to. He's got a young quarterback. He's got a young team that's fun to watch, Eli. And the Bears have a really bright future ahead of them. They could not have done any better with their hiring.
It was a phenomenal choice. They had no choice. They had to do it. And what a pickup. I mean, Caleb Williams now will be a developed quarterback. You know, we're going to see a new Bears team. They could potentially go far next year after this. This is pretty incredible to see. Love it.
Yeah. I just think it's going to be a great hire. I mean, here's the thing, Eli. The Bears literally have a chance to win the division next year. With the way the 3 NFC North teams went out in the playoffs, it makes you think, were the Bears really worse than all of these 3 teams? So yeah. Josh, if you're out there, I hope you're pumped about this because Ben Johnson's outstanding, Eli. And actually, Eli, I think this is going to be huge for the Bears' offensive line, which has been such a problem for the last decade. With Ben Johnson coming in, that offensive line is probably going to be one of the best in the league next year, just with him coming in to be their new coach. Fantastic move. Next up, the other Detroit Lions assistant coach, Aaron Glenn, goes to the New York Jets to be their head coach, Eli. Here's the thing. I made a take. That Aaron Glenn would end up being a better head coach than Ben Johnson in the NFL. But with Aaron Glenn going to the Jets, I don't know how that's going to be like. How is that different from Robert Saleh? They were both defensive coordinators who were like culture builders. If you're going to keep Aaron Rodgers, there was no point in making this hire. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, Eli. Like, you didn't hire an offensive guy or something like that. Like, I know Aaron Glenn used to play for the Jets. I know there's some history there. I don't know if George is watching. Maybe he could chime in on this, but I'm just not a big fan of Aaron Glenn going to the Jets. And John Randall, I see your comment. We'll get to that in just a second. Just hold up 1 second. Go ahead, Eli.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, the way he said it already, he said he wants to keep Aaron Rodgers right there. That shows me the flag is up, and I don't know if I could trust this Jets pick. I don't think it was the smartest one. I mean, considering how many other coaches were out there, I think especially Rex Ryan, he really wanted that job. You could tell. You listened to him every Sunday on ESPN and everything. I don't think that the Jets are still going to. I think the Jets are going to still have a season like they did this year, maybe a little bit better, but still miss the playoffs. That's what I'm seeing here. I don't think it was the best move.
We have a comment from John Coffey. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. Bears offense on paper looks like a top 5 offense. And to that, I say it is, as long as they fix the offensive line. If they fix the offensive line, they are a top 5 offense, no doubt. But if they don't fix it, then they're bottom 5. The offensive line is so important. It really is in terms of developing an offense. And well, John Randall chimes in here, and we'll get to it now with the new hire. The Jacksonville Jaguars, first of all, they fired their GM. Trent Baalke's out. Doug Peterson was fired. Now they fired Trent Baalke. And the Jaguars have hired Tampa Bay offensive coordinator Liam Cohen as their new head coach, Eli. I like this hire. I think it's a good hire. Liam Cohen is a well-respected coach.
Yep.
We saw how Tampa Bay's offensive coordinator last year, Dave Canales, became Carolina's head coach. In Carolina, I mean, Bryce Young was great last year. Like, he had an incredible second half. And Carolina's going to be really good next year. I think this is going to be a good hire. I think he's going to be a good mind. I think he's going to get Trevor Lawrence back to working again. I think Doug Peterson's offense was too vanilla. I think Liam Cohen's going to bring some diversity into that offense. And I am really excited, Eli. I think this is going to be a really underrated and low-key hire for Jacksonville. How about you?
I don't have an issue with it. I think it's not bad. We'll see how they could develop this team, go forward. I'm excited to see the new future of it. I think I like it, and we'll see what happens. It's a tough division, though. They're going to have to battle.
All right. Another comment from John Coffey. I'm going to be saying lots of comments. Well, we appreciate that. Love your thoughts. Now need the thoughts on the hire. Get to that right now.
I love it.
The Las Vegas Raiders are hiring former Seattle head coach, former USC head coach, Super Bowl champion, national champion, Pete Carroll is their new head coach.
And the one responsible for dropping the ball at the 3-yard line. The 1
Yeah.
yard line. End zone. Sorry, end zone.
Yes. Well, Eli, you're the Seattle fan here. Pete Carroll was your head coach for a decade plus. I'm going to let you go first here. What are your thoughts on Pete Carroll as the new Raiders head coach?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Raiders will somehow make the playoffs next year because Pete Carroll is a fantastic coach. And if they could pick up a quarterback in this upcoming draft, then absolutely the Raiders will go far. Pete Carroll is an excellent head coach. Seattle let him go early, and now I think he's gonna rechange this organization around. Tom Brady's now a part of it. He's gonna be working together with him. I think I love this move. I think we could see the Raiders go far. Obviously, I don't think they're going to win the division because, as we all know, there's a team named Kansas City in it. But if Kansas City wasn't in there, the Raiders would have to fight with Denver. That would be my opinion. But the Raiders, I think we could see them in the playoffs as long as if all goes well in the draft, pick up a good quarterback, and then make the right adjustments in this offseason.
I definitely think, Eli, that Tom Brady had an influence on Pete Carroll coming to Vegas to be their new coach. But when I think of Pete Carroll, Eli, I think of consistency. When has Pete Carroll ever had a bad team? Seattle was never a bad team for the decade plus that he was there.
Right.
And Pete Carroll, he never had a bad team at USC. He was even the New England coach at one point.
Yeah.
So he's never had a bad team.
I think
and he's a culture builder. But the best thing about Pete Carroll, though, is the chewing gum. Of course, that's the best thing about Pete Carroll.
Oh, yeah. The chewing gum and
how aggressively he chews gum on the sideline. Yeah. But I am excited, though, for this, Eli. This is going to be a
fantastic
really good hire. I am so excited to watch this, Eli. It's going to be fantastic.
Absolutely.
All right. So that is it for the head coaching hirings. We, of course, have two more teams, the New Orleans Saints, Dallas Cowboys, who have not decided yet. I think the Saints are going to hire Mike McCarthy, Eli. I really do.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the Cowboys are going to go for Deion Sanders, which would be a disaster. But
I think we know that's going to happen, I think we could predict it.
Yep. All right. Well, let's
get one comment.
Russell Wilson to
Vegas or draft a quarterback 100%. Why would Pete Carroll want Russell Wilson? Why?
No, you know what? Neither of them. You know what we're going to do, Eli? You know who we're going to give to the Raiders? Your favorite quarterback, Drew Lock. We're going to send Drew Lock to... Remember, Drew Lock was with Pete Carroll in Seattle for a couple of years.
I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, if you're really trying to build this franchise around Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito.
Oh, we're just going to get somebody for the Giants. I mean, you could just break...
Sorry for the Giants. We just saved 3 Giants players. I mean,
Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold, that'd be a possibility.
All right, we have a comment here. I believe this is Luke. Yeah, this is Luke. Yeah, what's up? What's up, Luke? How you doing? Sorry about your Ravens losing. Feel bad about that. All right, Eli, now that we're past head coaches, let's get to our championship game picks. Of course, there are only 2 games this week. No log, no survivor, no upset, just our game picks. Let's start with the first game, 3 p.m. on Fox. For the second time in 3 years, we'll be at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for this NFC East championship game. The Eagles battling the Commanders in Philadelphia. The Eagles are nearly a touchdown favorite, Eli. Here's what I'm going to say. The Eagles played the Commanders twice this year in Philly and Washington. The Eagles showed in both of those games that they were the better team. Saquon Barkley ran all over the Washington defense. The Eagles defense shut down Jaden Daniels. And the only reason why Washington won the second game, Eli, is because Jalen Hurts missed the final 3 quarters of the game. And the Eagles are just, I would honestly argue, Eli, that the Eagles are the most well-rounded team in the NFL. They have the best roster top to bottom. They have great coordinators. They have a great coach. They have great everything, Eli. And even though I really like the Commanders and I would love to see them go to the Super Bowl, I have to take the Eagles here to win this game. So give me the Eagles in a high-scoring game, 30-26, to go to their second Super Bowl in 3 years. How about you, Eli?
Well, here's what I think. Jalen Hurts is showing questionable for this weekend. Could that play a factor in this weekend's performance? There is a possibility. The way Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders played last week in Detroit was unstoppable and pretty incredible. It was tough choosing. I originally picked this team, but now I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to be taking the Washington Commanders 27-24. Give me Jaden Daniels. Give me the Washington Commanders in the victory. I had originally picked the Eagles to win this game, but I had to switch it because I do not trust Jalen Hurts' injury. I do not trust this team. I see Commanders going far and making it big. Give me the Washington Commanders.
I like that pick, Eli. I'm sticking with the Eagles. I'm not going to change it, but I think that's a great pick by you. So I'm glad you did it. Well,
Yeah.
let's go to the AFC
Keep it pays
Championship
off.
game now. Yeah, AFC Championship game. It's Buffalo and it's Kansas City. You can't
Again.
can't really ask for anything better. This game is at 6:30 on CBS. Of course, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo doing this game. I believe they do like every Chiefs-Bills game, it feels like, in the world.
Well, I mean, I think that's a signature.
Kansas City is the 2-point favorite here at home. Buffalo's lost 3 times to Kansas City in the playoffs, 3 times in the last 4 years. The other time they lost was to Cincinnati. Can Buffalo finally get over the hump? Is Josh Allen finally going to do it? As much as I would love to see it, as much as I love Buffalo, as much as I love their team, their fans, everything, I'm going to say no, they're not going to do it. Kansas City is going to win. And you know what? I'm going to say we'll save it for Super Bowl week, actually.
Yeah, save it Super Bowl week. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, maybe Kansas City won't win, and then we won't even have to worry about it.
Exactly.
But
well, here's my.
I got to get my score.
Get your score, right. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Okay, well, I think Kansas City's defense is going to shut down Buffalo. I really do. They played them earlier in the season. Buffalo struggled at points offensively. I think Kansas City's going to be ready to play. Steve Spagnuolo is an incredible defensive coordinator, and he's going to be ready for Buffalo. Kansas City wins by 1 point, 17-16, to go back to the Super Bowl again and have a chance to three-peat. Now, before we get to you, Eli, what was the score you had for the Commanders-Eagles game?
Oh, don't do the Tony Romo jinx thing again.
So
we did that last week.
So what does that mean for the score of this game? Eli, we send it over to you now. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'll give the score already. I'm not going to give the pick yet, though. It's 26-23. It's the Eli
Yep.
special. Okay, but I have not made my pick, though. Okay. Who is the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, you.
Taylor Swift? True.
The quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, sorry. Cleve Blakeman, the ref for the game. The Kansas City refs.
Could you just...
Oh, no.
Forgive
It's
me.
Kermit the Frog.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Who is the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs?
Steve Spagnuolo.
Andy Reid. Who is the greatest fans of all time? One's a girl, one's a guy. The referees. The other one, Taylor Swift. And 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 equals a Chiefs victory. For those reasons, those 4 key factors play a role. The refs, Taylor Swift, the Chiefs, Mahomes and Andy Reid. What does that mean? A Chiefs win. You have all those 4 components, and that equals a Chiefs win. Buffalo does not stand a chance. And Arrowhead, give me Kansas City 26-23.
All right, well, we're both taking Kansas City, so
no surprise there.
No surprise there. And well, that is it for our picks on the 12th Horseshoe podcast. Luke says Bills versus Refs. Yeah, we know that's what it's going to be, but I have to pick what I have to pick. So
we have to pick what's right. And we know what's right is the referees, and they're going to win it with the Chiefs with those 4 components.
They absolutely will. All right, well, that's going to go for this week's edition of the 12th Horseshoe podcast. We will see you next week for our AFC Championship game recap. And then the following week, we will have our Super Bowl predictions. Join us on Monday night for the St. Mary's game versus Wallington. And we will see you all very soon. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Jack Rizzle, Mr. White Trump signing off.
Go Seahawks, go Devils.
Go Rangers. 7-0 in the last 10. Go Rangers. Let's go.
Go Seahawks, go Devils. Join me on